Welcome to the Fair Fashion Talks. Today, Michael Pfeiffer, co-founder of MOOT, shares how upcycling can be scaled industrially and become part of circular fashion.
In case you have any questions, please directly shoot them, write them in the chat, and happy to go through all of that later. So what we have prepared for today is an introduction to MOOT as a company. What are we doing? What's our background? What's our motivation? And also, because I think it's also relevant for such a course, some background about how does it actually work to start a company. And then we leave some time open for Q&A. But before we start, maybe one question: who of you maybe just use the hands up functionality here in Zoom? Who of you considers starting his or her own company at some point?
I do have one here in my classroom. Can I turn the camera? Because I have a couple of them here.
Okay. So here are even more students. Okay, nice.
I did hybrid, and I'm sure some might come still. It's just that the train situation, it's challenging at the moment.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, so I saw 3 hands going up, which is nice. So we all need more bright minds and motivated people to start companies. So hopefully this can also be something for you. Quick introduction to MOOT. Probably in the course of this course, you've already learned a lot about the textile industry. So I don't really want to go too deep into it. If there's just one fact that you take with you, the textile industry is really broken in the sense of reuse, in the sense of recycling. As of now, less than 1% of all the textiles in Europe are actually getting recycled fiber to fiber. And at MOOT, we said this is something that we want to tackle. We want to work on reusing material, and we want to work on this topic by using upcycling. So upcycling, in contrast to recycling, is no mechanical or chemical tearing apart of different fibers, or it's no fiberization. But with upcycling, you reuse existing textiles as a whole. And how can you imagine that such a product looks like? Well, while digitally sitting in front of you, I'm, for example, wearing a t-shirt, which used to be a bed sheet before. And we have developed a lot of products made out of existing material. So this is always the underlying assumption. We just take existing material to transform this into something new. And as of now, we have produced more than 100,000 products. We have developed many different upcycling types. So we take as a raw material, for example, post-consumer textiles such as blankets, home bed sheets. We work with leather jackets, but also with truck tarpaulins and other materials which can be reused. How does that work? Our company has a 2-sided business model. On the one side, there's a consumer brand called MOOT, under which you can buy online and offline our upcycling products. But what's driving our company even more is partnerships. So we are a service provider. We work with B2B partners, which you also see here in the screen, and help all of these companies turn their waste into new products. To make this a bit more tangible, I don't know how many of you are based in Düsseldorf or are living in that area, but eventually you know Perukaville Festival, which is a pretty big festival in Germany. This is, for example, a company among our clients. In the case of Perukaville, we turn wristbands. So every festival has lots of these wristbands. They also have lots of merchandise. They also have lots of banners, which they discard. And we take this corporate waste transform it into new products, such as, for example, this clutch, sell it back to Perukaville, and they then sell it further as a merchandise article. So Perukaville is, thanks to MOOT, turning a cost center means you have to pay for something. Perukaville normally needs to pay money for discarding their material, but thanks to us, they turn their waste into a new product, which they can then sell for a profit. So it's a win-win situation. It's a win for MOOT because we have a customer. It's a win for Perukaville because they earn money with their waste. And of course, it's also a win for the planet because in the end, we are all saving resources together. As a company, we also have different material streams. We work with post-consumer material. As I said, this, for example, used to be a bed sheet, but we can also source other materials from partner organizations, such as, for example, logistics companies. And what one company considers waste, for example, a logistics company considers a truck top a waste, we use as a resource for a new product. And this is then, for example, a truck top which is turned into such a product, which we then sell to a company like Hertha BSC. And then also some of our companies, they use their products internally. For example, Lidl and others, they take the material and then use it for their employees. All of what we're doing, frankly said, is absolutely no rocket science. From a product perspective, from technical perspective, zero innovation. We are not an innovative company when it comes to product or to technical innovations. From a business perspective, you would consider MOOT as a so-called business model innovation. What we are doing is we are just taking an existing business concept, upcycling. There are hundreds of people doing upcycling in Germany alone, but very often it's on a very small scale. So there are one or two people reusing material. And what we thought is, this is such an interesting business concept, but we need to bring this to another level. And I'll come to a second how we finance that. But bringing upcycling to another level means that you also provide all different service levels to your customers. So any company in Germany can approach us and can upcycle material with us. We can help companies with the sourcing of material. We can sort material in-house. So we are a team of 14 people here in Berlin. And we have capacities to sort material. We develop new products. We produce them together with partners. And then we also help companies with marketing and communication. What's outsourced is our production. We work with production partners in Berlin, but also with many partner companies, especially in Poland. We also have a partner in Hungary. And thanks to these companies, we have a production camp with the capacity of up to 40,000 products per month. So this really brings upcycling to an industrial level. And to make this now really a bit more tangible, let's also go through a few reference cases. We, for example, worked with large corporates, DHL, Deutsche Bahn, the Austrian Railway Company, and helped them to transform their uniforms into new products. So you see here on the pictures that these products are made out of existing material, but I also brought some of these products with me today. So I hope I don't have a blurry background here. I hope you can also see that here. So this product, this pillow, used to be a DHL polo shirt. And this is actually also a great example of upcycling, because upcycling comes with a huge power of communication. Within a millisecond, every one of you understands that this product has been reused, that this product used to be a polo shirt before. But if I told you that my t-shirt contained 20% recycled fibers, 40% recycled fibers? Well, nobody will know. But upcycling has this huge communicative advantage, and this is also part of the value that we create, and also, of course, part of the value that we sell to our customers. Besides large corporates, we work with textile companies. Gore-Tex is a larger client of ours, where we take post-industry waste and transform this into new products. We are capable of even reusing, well, let's say a bit more special material. For companies like Fisherman's Friend, we are upcycling consumer packaging and transform this into new products. But we are also working a lot in sports. So when you are a German company and you work with the German football national team, especially with the upcoming World Cup, that's always a nice reference case. We take, for example, banners, or we receive banners after every match of the German national team, transform this into new products, sell it back to the national team, and they then use these products further. So to really make this, or to show this to you in practice, how does that look like? Let me quickly jump to the website of the German national team. So here you find merchandise products which are labeled as DFB X MOOT. And actually, it's also the same for DHL. All of these products can be purchased also by yourself. I don't know if you're a big DHL fan or not, but actually, all of these products can be also purchased online. So it's a B2B business. Just that's what I want to underline. We do not sell these products, but we sell it back to our clients. There is much more about how we cooperate with all these companies, but maybe that's something that we can save for later. What I just want to share with you is, I don't know how much you have been into textile recycling, a circular textile economy, but very often you see such a circle. And the circular textile economy is a very complex one because there are so many different players involved. It's very complex to bring all the different parties together: collection of textiles, sorting of textiles, recycling, mechanical recycling, chemical recycling, fiber production, yarn spinning, and so on and so on. And of course, what we are developing at MOOT, this is not the only solution to a circular textile economy, but it can play a crucial role. And what we have developed with MOOT is actually a small circle within the circle. By upcycling, we take a very big shortcut in bringing materials back to the market. This also comes with a lot of benefits to cooperation partners in the sense of sorting companies and recycling companies that also profit from us, for example, reusing material which are not used anymore. A broken leather jacket, which is upcycled into such a product, comes with a huge increase in value. So there is much more that we benefit or that we bring to a circular textile economy than only making a pillow out of a DHL polo shirt. So that's it, maybe for the short introduction about MOOT. We have some more time left, and I think this is something which I always lacked when studying. I have a business background. I'm really not a fashion person. My co-founder is a fashion designer. But what I also realized is that very often this, let's say, business expertise or the sense of how do I actually start a company, that this is somehow missing in university courses. So I just want to give you a very, very quick introduction of how you could eventually start your own company. First of all, when you start your own company, very often people tend to say, "Oh yeah, I have my own startup now." With every business concept that I just bring to the market, a startup or a venture comes with a new business model. This doesn't need to be something completely new. You don't need another patent to develop a startup. This is also the case for MOOT, but there are for sure some companies who are not a startup. So if you open a new bakery, I'd say this is an established business concept. You produce bread and someone gives you money for that. Well, this is a so-called lifestyle business. But if you bet on a development in the future, if there's a really innovative idea, if you puzzle different things together in a way which has not been done before, well, then this is definitely considered a startup. And what you can then think of is, well, how do I actually get money for doing what I'm doing? In the very beginning, most of you will start with something which is so-called bootstrapping. So you start a company with just the money that you have. So you try to find innovative ideas or creative ideas of how to generate some funds that you can use. This is also how we with MOOT started. We started MOOT at the end of our studies. So while writing my master thesis, we started the company, and at that time we also started with the very limited budget that we had. But to establish such a company, you need to find partners who can help you scale such an idea. And I don't want to make this or turn this into a finance lesson now, but just as a very, very small overview of what's possible, there are basically three different forms of how you can raise money for your future startup. One is equity money, debt money, and then there's public funding. Let's leave the fourth one for a second. So public funding is, I think, straightforward. You get money from the state. There is a public funding program. The state has an interest in supporting companies to grow, because new companies also means people are getting employed, payment of social securities and whatsoever. So the state has an interest in supporting companies. But of course, this is also limited, and it's a very bureaucratic process. Nevertheless, it's very helpful because this can mean free money to you and the company. Probably the most classic financing option is debt financing. So, I don't know, eventually your parents or whatsoever, they took a credit when they bought a house, apartment, a car, or whatsoever. So this means I, as a bank, give you, Ramona, for example, 100,000 euros, and then I say, Ramona, good luck with your idea. Please use this 100,000 euros wisely. But then in 5 years, you pay me 100,000 euros back, but also with 10% interest rate. So I receive 100,000 euros plus 10,000 euros as a form of bank credit. A very typical form. As a startup, nevertheless, this is something which is not very accessible to you. So if you want to start your own business now and you go to Sparkasse Düsseldorf, well, probably the bank will be skeptical and will not finance you right away. But then the way to go is equity financing. So you find people who believe in you, or you find companies who believe in you, and they tell you, so Ramona, sorry, I'm taking you again as an example, and they then say, okay, Ramona, I believe in your business. I give you 100,000 euros, and you don't need to pay me this money back, but in return, I receive 10% of your company. And if the company, of course, develops well, then eventually 10% of a company is worth even more than 10,000 euros as an interest. Very, very small introduction to how does it also work to finance a company. Just the last word about MOOT. We went through all the different stages that there can be in terms of startup financing. We did bootstrapping in the beginning. We did something called crowdfunding. We got public grants. We got investors. We are now starting also with credit. So this is a topic on its own, but I hope this can be somehow a creative input for you, first of all, about upcycling and to understand more about how reusing textiles at scale can work, and also how you can eventually start your own company in the future. So I'll leave the session for here and look very much forward to your questions.